Wow, welcome back to the Feeling Your Passion podcast. It's been a minute. It was a little chaotic with Black Friday. We took a little week hiatus there, but we're back, and there's a lot happening right now. A lot of people to introduce. Number one, Riley Suhan over here. Long-time running Canadian athlete of ours. The Canadian part doesn't really matter, but it just kind of makes him that much more special.
It matters. I caught him giving 2 or 3 ski pulls to randoms on the trail today.
Well, you got to help out.
He's a good Canadian.
And then he said sorry afterwards.
They said sorry.
Sorry.
Get stuck. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Jenner.
Number two, the one and only Mike Reeve, our Canadian filmer. Also known as just another filmer, but you're Canadian, so we have to emphasize that.
And he's dad.
Right.
For all of you who've been watching the YouTube series, Mike has been killing it on the Canada side through the crazy travel times throughout the pandemic. Mike has been holding it down and making some awesome stuff. So pumped to have you sitting right here finally.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Love you.
And a repeat,
Long time.
long awaited,
Hello.
Ross Robinson.
Camera's right there.
Hey guys.
We got
Good to
Ross
see everybody
Robinson.
again. We're happy to be here with all my friends, and we're excited for you to enjoy the show.
Bear with us. I know we got a lot of people on a few mics. And one and only, the Sled Necks OG, Cody Borchers.
Oh yeah. What's up, everybody? Pretty excited. David's been actually, we've been trying to get. I was like, Dave, come on. How do we get in that video thing? How do we get on that audio review?
The talking interviews is
How
what
do
we
we
call
get
it.
these talking interviews happening up here in Canada? Do I got to sit down in front of a camera? Like, how are we going to do this? So, pretty excited to be here. Thankful that everyone could finally come up and enjoy the household that me and my family have built. Kebri, just to
We're
my
at
right,
Borch
my
Manors.
little daughter. So she's pretty excited to be here in her house, have all you guys here. And it's exciting. Have a podcast in my own house.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, Borch.
Of course. Yeah, thanks, boys.
Yeah.
One of a kind. And then another repeat, but a fan favorite from the first podcast ever again, Jay Mentaberry.
Yep.
Wow. Jay's number 1.
Happy to be invited back.
I don't know if we invited you.
Right place.
Nobody invited me. Well, I'm here, so deal with it.
And
Stoked to be here. Thanks.
a third repeat, the cop, the sheriff, the trooper, Scott Eyer.
Yeah, stoked to be here. I'm sitting next to all these legends. Kind of surreal, actually.
Don't make Reeve and I blush.
It's true, straight up. All these guys, I learned how to ride from watching you guys ride, so it's cool to be here and be a part of all of it. So
Don't worry, we'll find your hat later.
yeah,
So the main thing I want to start everything off is, first of all, it's awesome to see all of you guys and all of us together. It's been so long. But we got to ride the last 2 days in BC. Once again, I'm going to be kind of beating a dead horse here for the first time in forever, it feels like.
It's been a long time.
And it's kind of been a shit show. Riley, you didn't join in. I kind of want your perspective of day 2. You didn't join in on day 1. And then we'll circle back to how day 1 went for us.
Yeah, like day 1 for me today was good, but like, man, like we're going out with a huge crew today. There was 12 of us, I think.
Yeah. It was a cool dozen.
And then I seen Mike's story from yesterday of like, not the best conditions, not the best viz. Thinking we'd have some good viz today, but
Not the best viz at midnight when we were coming off the mountain.
well, you guys come out in the dark. And then today we left, whatever. We got up to the cabin and then we get up in the Alpine. Can't see anything. We're bumper to bumper trying to get through there. And like, there's rocks everywhere. There's no snow up in the Alpine.
You guys are so spoiled.
People actually think we like just unload off the pickups and pull out the cameras and start filming, but like the traverse to get into the zone today was like bumper to bumper, do not lose your groupie, and just follow each other. And as we're trying to negotiate through this Alpine where you couldn't see 10 feet in front of your skis, like we're just like Borch and I got stuck. It felt like on flat ground, but you're moving up. You have no concept of what's going up or down.
It literally looks like flat ground when you're going because you can't actually see that what 10 feet in front of you.
So, like,
Till you-
experienced riders traversing the Alpine to get to the zone to then start filming was gnarly enough.
Borch is the real MVP for navigating us through that.
Yeah, leading the way. Like that was challenging.
The trouble is always trying to navigate through the cloud because the cloud is, you just can't see. And it's so much easier for everyone that's behind you And when you swap spots with someone, you're like, oh, this is way easier. Why does everyone want to just follow me? Of course, yeah. Here, you go. You lead the way. You be the first one to go in that hole.
At one point, Nadine today went over her handlebars, just hitting a cornice that no one could see.
I can only imagine what actually happens behind me because you're not really paying attention. I think circling back to day one, I think that old Barry's was looking to get into a little freestyle career that we didn't see. He's trying really more or less trying to tell us how rad he was doing a Superman.
I was trying out
trying
out for the film, the freestyle show. Nobody was watching, but I go nuking into the uphill to try to get caught up to you guys. And I tapped a rock with the back of my track and just went yard.
But all of us are on the radio like, watch out for all the rocks up top.
Yeah, I know.
Right now is probably some of the worst conditions that I have experienced here in Revelstoke, honestly, in 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen it this bare up top. The systems are a lot lower, and we're not getting alpine snow like we normally get. We haven't had any big storms. We've had one nice big one. Obviously, there's more to come, but you're just so eager and want to get out there. We really tried, like Mike and Riley and myself and Regan. We got out in November and
wrecked some stuff.
Oh man, Riley took a beating.
Thankfully, Riley was the guinea pig that took all the beating. The rest of us came out not bad.
Yeah,
Riley was like.
There really truly comes down to that one guy in your group, possibly two, that are going to just take a beating on the weekend.
I took all the sharks for you.
And that was Riley, yeah. So this turnaround, we tried for December, not much more on top. It only just hides the shark fins that much more.
There were some sharks out there today.
Yeah.
The last 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Absolutely.
There's sharks in the water.
With laser beams attached to their freaking heads.
That's Canada.
But only just entertains everyone else that's in the group.
Yeah. So Borch navigated us through all of this somehow. I mean, I'm talking, if the guy in front of you got more than 20 feet in front of you, you couldn't see them.
You were lost.
And then last night, we were coming out super late because we ran out of fuel 3 times. Trent rolled his sled and lost a fuel cap. Ross had some mechanical issues. Scott's track came off the rails, all this stuff. And even with, I thought maybe the taillights would be better, like something to follow at night. But the wind was blowing so gnarly and the snow dust and it was everything. And 20 feet again, same rule. If they were 20 feet in front of me, you lost the person in front of you. And there's a couple moments there I was a little skeptical that we were all going to make it back.
Yeah.
But think how many stories actually all of our viewers could even say. How many people have been into this situation?
Yeah.
Right? Pushing the light. Buddy
Everybody's
gets stuck.
done that.
Everybody's getting more out. The clock's ticking and it's getting darker. So honestly, if we probably weren't all prepared as we were, most of us, a few of us had some headlamps that we donated to our buddies to make it work. David.
That was my headlamp treating you the last year.
I always think it's like those early seasons ride, you're dusting off the cobwebs, and you're also forgetting exactly what you need to pack.
And
right?
how intense it can get in a hurry.
Yeah, really quick.
Like legit.
It makes your group strong.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to be calm. Everyone's got to be frugal on what you're doing, trying to stay close, trying to follow, and lead guy can't go too fast. You got to be with the group. You got to put a pace that everyone can keep up with, and especially thinking of your weakest link, right? So your weakest link. Trent sitting behind the camera, obviously, but just something to think about. And, I think that's more or less what it comes down to.
Trent, I don't think that.
Trent, you held your own today.
So really wrapping back to Riley, you never really got to experience day one, but it seems your day one was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Today was all in all, it was chaotic with the weather.
Chaotic.
But it was good. It was crazy with all the people we had and where we went, low snow, but bottomless snow. Yeah. And you'd sink right through it and you didn't know if you were going to go down 3 feet and hit that stump or rock. So it's you're always on eggshells trying to ride through it. And it was a good day. The snow's coming and we had a lot of fun today, but it was challenging, but it was good to see everybody out and of course get all our American buddies back up here and see you guys and get out with you guys. And It was a day, and I'm excited for tomorrow, to be honest.
Scott, how have you been? This is kind of your first ring of fire with this crew.
Oh, it's been good.
And we've definitely put you through a bit of a ringer here.
As far as riding or just in general?
Everything. The banter, everything.
No, it's been good. It's been good. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun getting out on the mountain, and these guys, they're all talking about how low the snow is, but
Yep,
in North Idaho, this is like the best snow we'll ride all season. So I've been having a blast. It's been a good time. So yeah.
You guys are spoiled.
Oh,
Yeah,
Revy
really
used that
spoiled.
Yeah, when's our trip to come to like your guys' place?
Seriously, we need to do.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that dinner. We need to
Definitely.
do the Canadians come to the U.S. for once,
Yeah.
and like do Wyoming,
really-
Montana, or something.
Really disappointed.
I think they'd
But
find some.
experience it, like
No, it's different.
No, it is
see what it's all
different.
about. See what you guys learned
Yeah.
on, right?
There's a lot less oxygen because everything's super high.
Yeah.
It's not too bad where we actually ride, but like Wyoming's
Wyoming,
like
yeah.
10,000 feet or so, which is
Where
like
turbos
30,
are necessary. Yeah.
3,300 meters.
So this is the need. This is the need of a hairdryer. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
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 You always
Yeah.
need a hairdryer.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
they exist.
This
guys
is
don't.
what exists.
invented
Go or do. To go or do, you need turbo.
You must need boost.
No, we're all gonna
big hairdryer.
And from riding with you, and you drive with me in the truck every morning, and you're addicted to Boost, aren't you? Which
He is now.
That's a whole
Yeah,
other
no.
conversation.
So I've had this would be a fun one to have, honestly, to
Yeah,
talk
fill
about.
me in. Fill me
Yeah.
in.
Over the time of dabbling in the Boost world, I've been on Skidoo for a long time. Obviously, I started with riding out Polaris. You know, it was the old XLT, and it was good, 97. But as we're moving along,
Silver
here,
Fox.
this might put some age on me. But getting into riding mostly BRP products and trying to use the aftermarket world hair dryers to add to them, it didn't quite work that well. You always got kind of a bottom end that's not really that friendly when you're in those off-cambered, like puckered situations when you need something to light up and get going. Yes, they're wicked once they're in power and rolling. But fast forwarding to now, last year I snow checked a Boost, which didn't show up till March, so there was really no sense in getting myself throwing a leg over it. So I was like, Carter, let's roll with this. Leave it in the crate. Let's bring it out fresh right in the beginning. So now I'm getting to ride this thing. Really, I was saying to you, it was just like the stock product that's come now that you can throw a leg over it, 3-year warranty with turbos.
Yeah.
And they ride like stock. Yeah, maybe not quite as crispy as a naturally aspirated, but I am just extremely enjoying every single ride on it. And I think every day I like Boost is about what, the hot topic out of my mouth.
Yeah, that's the words I hear out of your mouth. Is
every day.
I want Boost.
cannot do
Borch
without
ain't going
Boost.
There's a point to where Boost, as we were, talking about in the truck, is that time of the year where Boost kind of is a bit out of control.
Yeah. There's
You
a
know-
time and a place for
Unless you're
Naturally
KJ,
aspirated, too.
KJ could put Boost to work probably till May. He's just that guy that,
June.
oh man. And I think there's another guy that could do that very well as well, and that's Andreas. Andreas is those Swedes. They got a little different switch,
Yeah.
and they like it when it's more speed.
Try and get your feet out of my pillow area.
But the stock machines now are just unbelievable. Come in stock with turbos. They don't make you lazy. They make you actually see different things earlier on when snow conditions are harder on a naturally aspirated, where you can actually take these things now and get to enjoy a little bit more uphill obstacles, which is really fun.
Totally. Reeve, you probably got a little input on this. It's been, obviously Riley and Borch have never been on this before, or Reeve, but
First timers.
yeah, first timers popping cherries. Left and
Feeling
right.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Feeling really good here.
Borcher's history in this industry.
So nervous.
For those who don't know, first of all, you should know. Slednex. When was your first Slednex film you were in?
I want to think it was either late 6 or 7.
Sled
I think sled neck 7.
Like 66?
Yeah, 66. Yeah.
66.
I was actually on a
Bravo.
Yeah, I was on a Bravo.
Sing along, Bravo.
So back then, Jay Quinlan was someone that I looked up to. So if Jay rode a Players Pro, and he was on like the he had a black one that year.
Oh, the Pro X2.
The Pro X was just that was a must-have. It was the 800 that came
was a
out.
sick segment.
And I got a 120, but I stretched it to a 37 because we needed it obviously back then, and so that kind of started it. And my introduction into sled necks was actually on that sled. It was kind of fun. I made my own hood, and I think if you go back and look at it, I stole my buddy's Mike Michalchuk's jacket. It was his Nike jacket. It's a yellow and kind
That's
of
what you
bluish
made
color.
a hood out of?
Yeah, no, not the jacket, but
Out of
I'm giving you the vision, right?
So
So that was that.
Right
I
now.
believe it was. It may have been. It was. I think it was 7. I'm pretty sure it was 7.
That was his name.
Either way,
Mike Michael.
He's like a pro snowboarder.
Mike Michalchuk.
Yes.
That is legendary.
Borch and I lived at his
hood out of
place
his
in
jacket.
Pemberton filming one year. He's a rad dude.
Wow.
so either way, what I was getting at
I don't know.
Okay, we got divulged.
was Borch. You've been in the game for a long time. You've done a lot of cool stuff. I grew up watching you. A lot of the guys sitting here grew up watching you. And you've done a ton for the sport, and it's awesome. But Reeve, you've also been lucky enough to be able to film him. Obviously, not way back to his early sled next days, but still quite a what? How far back?
Yeah, for a lot of people, it would be some of the early sled nights.
Late
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, Borch and I crossed paths in probably like 2000. Yeah, 2007, 2008 kind of thing.
I was on an XP then.
Yeah, and I was on an XP as well. We were.
What was your girlfriend's name? Remember you brought her to the
Remember that one?
backcountry?
There's been so many since
That
then,
was
I can't-
honestly one of the standing out points because we were on Boulder and you had her with you,
That's right.
and then your key,
yeah.
the key screwed up.
Wait.
on it.
Reeve brought his girlfriend, and the guy that gets pissed when I
he
bring
was trying to
Trent.
show off.
When I bring-
here, hold my camera.
I love Trent being
No, I'm
there.
just kidding. It was the old Vert Sports Day. Mike had his own little thing going.
Yeah, I privateered a couple of my own films, and we were filming with Rob Alford, another Revelstoke legend around here that filmed for Sled Next, and a lot of people can relate to in his big backcountry segments with Cody. So we linked up and we started filming, and then Cody and I did some projects at his freestyle ramp in Cochrane back in his freestyle days. So he was flipping little 120s and stuff, and that just carried over into that winter, and we started filming winter segments for Sled Next at the time, and we spent a lot of time in Pemberton and Whistler and out here in Revelstoke and with a lot of different riders, and there's still a lot of features that we go to today that's legendary stuff that we've been filming for over a decade for sure. But
Yeah, I think some of those features are just they line up so
Yeah,
well
so nice.
that you just keep doing them because
They're
they're just
timeless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can say the first
absolutely.
time I came up here, I wanted to hit every jump that I had seen in the videos growing
of
up.
course. Yeah.
I love it. I'm like, I saw that. I watched it 100 times. I want to do that.
One of the first jumps that you and I kind of filmed together, you came up for a spring heli shoot and for volume 8, and it was it's iconic Turtle Gap.
Turtle Gap.
But that one goes back to, we were filming for Sled Next years ago, and it was Robbie, Chris Brown, and Jeff Kyle and I.
Wow.
And I looked at that and I was like, you guys think you could like gap that? And Robbie was on a 2010 turboed Cat at the time, and it was kind of mid-season deep snow. And we kind of just all, I don't know, who knows at that time, like sleds were not what they could do today, out of the box. So we just kind of like shoveled in a bit of a ski ramp to it and lined up Robbie's sled, and he did it.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying you like originated the Turtle Gap?
Well, I visioned it that I was like, I think a sled can gap that, and we did it. And
Holy shit! Are we with the Turtle Gap founder?
the father.
Things that
Everything's like, it's like a video game. You're like, I think the sled can go from here to here, and then you just have trust in the athletes to say like, no, like move on, or be like, let's try it. And that's what we do though. Like, people wonder how it all happens if we just like heli out the filmers to set down, but like we just got to cruise, and when you're cruising, everyone's just looking for features and like, man, maybe that'll line up. And then between the filmer and the athlete, it's like, well, maybe try it this way or that way. But it's kind of a collaborative effort.
You hit on a good point there, Reeve. It's funny when the different riders, you learn their different style of riding and what they migrate towards. like my brain when I'm filming with Caleb versus Turcotte versus Borchers, whatever, is totally different mindset. Like you figure out over the years what type of terrain they want to hit, what works for them, what doesn't, and like when you're going out that day, your whole mindset changes depending on what rider you're with.
Yeah, like Riley here, he likes doing power carves in meadows. You know, flat ground.
He likes
But
corduroy.
you get him up into the hills, and he's unnatural there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most times we go out, like I'm looking for stuff, and there's this open canvas. There's like 100 different features, and Mike's like, "So what do you want to do first?" And I'm just like,
Corduroy.
"There's a million different things," but you're like, I get overwhelmed. I'm like, just going crazy out there because there's so much stuff to do. I'm like, why don't you show me if you know so? And he can, and he does. And there's been many times in the past, like volume 10, 11. There was times where I'm like,
I think 10 was your first year with 509. Like
that was my first
full-on.
full segment, and I was just like, I don't know. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, really. I was just like riding my sled because I love sledding. And then you went out and like sessioned some stuff that I'm like, what? He was hitting like double drops and like, why don't you just jump off this cornice up top? And like, that's the filmers we have.
It was a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
It's because we have fun. We genuinely enjoy snowmobiling, and I think it comes through in the film. Like, McKinney rides a turbo all done up and rallying around through the trees, riding and enjoying it just as much as the riders themselves. And I think that's why the film is the way it is because we genuinely want it to be kick-ass too. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to film sometimes.
I think a lot.
I just want to ride my
We
snowmobile.
could get you filmers to put the cameras down. It'd probably do half the stuff that we do because you guys can see and get a good eye of what we're looking for and those types of things. The unique thing about snowmobiling in the backcountry is the type of terrain that you have to get through, and to get to these locations, you need a really good filmer that can ride a snowmobile just as well to get into some of the spot and get out of these sucker holes that we pull you guys into.
We dropped into one yesterday, day one. You guys were standing up on the cliff's edge wondering if I'd ever even get out of there.
I was out of gas. I was like, give me some gas. Let's get going.
Yeah, we were.
But when we all dropped down, you guys then realized that was the honey hole. That's where we
Absolutely.
needed to be because that's where the goods were. And
No, that's just it for sure. You know, everyone's got that eye, and Mike's been around long enough to just know these things. You know, it's something I think we just need to give you guys a big pat on the back as well.
So are you saying you're getting a little bit dehydrated, and maybe day 3 you're going to just tame it easy, and then McKinney and I do the riding and do the
fun-
filming?
Maybe that's what we should do tomorrow.
How fun would a filmer segment be?
Yeah.
Like
Entirely.
the Battle of the Filmers.
Yeah.
It would be amazing.
Do we?
But also, our early season ride we did this year when we followed Mike up Sail. And he's like, oh, we could probably just go down this drainage. And like, I don't know the drainage.
It was a good idea too.
I don't know the drainage very well. I don't know the area very well. I'm just following these guys. And like, I'm pretty sure Mike was leading the way. And we
It's the
get down-
typical Mike. Oh yeah, we can go down here.
This is
Yeah,
our filmer. We're
absolutely,
following
yeah.
him, and like we get down, and we're in such low snow that the willows like took over.
Well, you obviously got off my track because the way I went down, we crossed the creek. It was easy.
Like that. No, he radios us. You're
Took all
across
the
the
snow
creek.
with
It's nice
him.
over here, boys. Me and Cody are screwed up right in the trees. We like lost
bad.
Regan. I don't know if
He likes
Regan was
willow
with
whipping his
you or
sled.
whatnot.
Yeah,
He likes it in the
It was-
face.
absolutely.
Chaos,
It's not
100%.
as easy to ride a 2-ski where you can go on a 1-ski. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But one of the first times we got the entire crew together that I can remember, Volume 8, Heli Shoot. McKinney, you weren't on yet, but Clark was there, and Tom even came up. He was a huge crew, and the synergy you get when you put these riders together, like we've been seeing over the last couple of days, is so cool. When you roll into a zone and you see features like you're talking about, and then it's just like kind of game on to be like who can get up to it first and who's going to claim that line because everyone's so hungry to get that shot. So filmers are quickly setting up, riders are trying to get in position, stuff's happening. You know, one's dropping off here, one's dropping off there, and it's chaos. And then the guys are just chomping at the bit. Like you rolled into one zone. Jay was already at the top lining up a drop.
Almost
you
wrecked it.
almost rode up to do like
Sabotage,
a 180 off of it just for sabotage.
He knew I was going to do it, and I had it claimed, and he's like,
But
I can't
Thankfully
let
he
him
did
have
because
that.
he went
Well,
up and he dropped it
These
too.
filmers got us trained well because we see a nice patch of snow. We got to ask whose it is first.
Don't touch it.
You guys are so polite.
Canada. Double check.
Sorry.
No, and then you're like,
Hey, Roscoe. How you doing, Ross?
I got something to say. Listen, I got something to say. No, you roll up, and everybody's like, whoa, whoa, and then here comes somebody rogue out of the trees, and you're like, I swear to God, if they enter my shot, I'm gonna lose my mind
every time.
And they're like 40 feet from it, and you're just like, oh, here he comes.
Yeah.
Here he comes. It's like Jay just ripping a huge power turn right through your money shot.
And Reeve and I are thinking the same thing though too.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we're like, don't go there, don't go there,
you
don't go there.
dare
You better turn.
Yeah.
And then here comes Scott Eyer.
Bow tie, yeah.
So it's cool to see all the athletes working together, you know, to find all these different features and really amp each other up, because the energy that you guys draw from each other is
It's
unreal.
huge. I feed off of other riders, especially these guys, to progress. Like if it's just me, it's hard to really like
Get
go
amped up,
send
yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
I'd love to have like Riley and Ross and all these guys like wanting it. That makes me want it more. But also the support they give by like some advice and like just being backup.
Just
And it
having a
just
good
makes it
time,
so
though,
much
together.
easier and nicer. And
It's a hell of a good time.
that's about the extent of my thought.
We were coming over here. Mike and I got it up next. Mike, you go.
Michael Chuck.
Here's what I will say. So what's interesting about, for anybody who like watching a snowmobile film isn't snowmobiling, but it is at the same time, right? Because it's very like,
I'm glad you brought that
it's
up.
very
It's calculated.
segmented, and you're lining up all this stuff. The real magic happens in the middle of the line when you don't know what's going on and you're just trying to sort it all out.
Yeah.
So what's funny is when David or Mike or any of these guys are like, yo, what do you think about that? And then as a rider, you're like, oh man, like, because the shot looks sick, but it's like, does it work from a rider standpoint and the filming standpoint?
Do they cross over?
The 10 out of 10, the banger shots are when both of them line up perfectly. When the rider's like, this is sick, and the filmer's like, the line, the angle is
Backdrop,
perfect
the
as
lane,
well.
the conditions, everything. Like
So much of stuff that you guys don't even really see are one or the other's working.
Right.
The line was sick, but the angle wasn't right, or the angle was sick, but the feature didn't help the rider accomplish what needed to be accomplished.
Totally. Yeah.
I think that's cool. What's cool about the web series is that it really captures that rather than just being like banger, 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 banger. You know, it's like shows the whole story and gives perspective on
behind the
that.
scenes.
Well, Jay
Like-
did 8 NASCAR circles yesterday in a row.
Yeah.
That would never make a Jay Mentaberry like segment
Right?
ever, right?
But it's
in
gonna
a
make- it's
in
gonna
the
make this,
webisode,
for
it's
sure.
going in because
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
it was
hilarious.
cool. We all laughed when we
Yeah.
were watching it.
Yeah.
So it's-
Yeah.
But I think so many people can relate to, like we talk about, okay, lining up that perfect shot lining, and they only get to see a small portion of that. But how many people are watching with their group that they like to, oh man, you get jazzed up with your buddy when you go, only get to see them maybe a handful of times of the year because you travel together to that one location. Maybe for us it's Revelstoke, but we're going to hopefully get down to the States, and maybe for others it's, you know, somewhere else, Sycamoose or Whistler or wherever they like to ride, you know, Island Park or where
West
they
Yellowstone.
West Yellowstone.
Togety.
Togety.
The bartender has arrived.
Yeah, Trent.
Oh, yeah.
Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated, everyone.
Everybody take your pick.
Yeah.
Take your pick. Continue. Hey, so I had a question there that
Smash me.
we kind of got off a little bit there for a second, but Riley, for you, I know you've been a sleder for a long time now and into it, but Borch has become one of your pretty close riding buddies, and you know the history. I mean, that's got to be pretty cool going out in the backcountry with somebody that experience, has that much knowledge in this industry, whether it's from sled setup to features to safety to terrain management, everything in between. Like, that's a pretty damn good riding buddy to have.
He's a silver fox.
Yeah.
And like every day that I ride with Borch or like hang out in his house with his family, my family comes, we all hang out. Like I bring my daughter, my wife. Like it's very surreal. And like growing up, you watch these guys in these sled films, you idolize them, you look up to them, you want to hit the jumps that they've hit, you want to learn from what they've done and have the experiences that they've had. And now, like, it doesn't really make sense that a guy from Golden, yeah, I guess it's close to Revy, so maybe that does make, it helps my case, but it's like, it just, again, it's the whole, like, it just doesn't make sense why I am friends with like this whole group of people that were sled necks that are 509 guys and everybody that's connected. Like, it's so surreal, and it's so cool that, like, he's one of my best buddies. The guy sitting right here with his arm around his daughter. Like, it's just, I can show up at their house anytime, and they made us dinner tonight. They're putting us all up in their place. Like, it could bring a tear to my eye, to be honest.
They haven't sent you the invoice yet.
Yeah, exactly.
But you also had good mentorship growing up there in Soupy. Like Dwayne. Shout out to Dwayne.
Yeah.
He was featured in a couple of our episodes.
Some people gotta know who he is now. He's been in a few of the 509
got a
Webbies.
name tag in the
Old
video.
Papa Suhan. Papa Suhan.
Papa Suhan
Yeah. Why
isn't he
grew you
here?
up proper. And it wasn't that long ago that he passed the torch from himself to you
Yeah.
because you outrode him.
Well,
I remember
you can't
that day
outride Soupy.
you called me and you're like, I think I broke trail into this creek that Soupy got stuck in, and I think he passed the torch on to me.
Well, because he was scoping, like, where we went, if you guys seen back the Polar Vortex, we went back. That was all my dad's idea. He'd been scoping out that zone, I don't know if it was 20, 30 years. Like, we showed in the episode where my dad logged with his dad there, and, like, the old trails you can kind of see when they were logging from the old photo, of course, but, like, currently when we went up there and whatever, we got up there and we got into this more technical drainage, and it was pretty steep, pretty deep snow. Like, it was a little challenging. There was open water at the bottom of it, and the old man, he was like, he didn't admit to it, but he was like, punch the trail in first, kid, and he'll follow us up, kind of thing.
You go ahead.
And
You go ahead.
But you also forget in a group like this, and we even get to it like today or yesterday, for instance, where like you kind of forget how much you progress over a number of years. You know, like if you bring in a riding buddy that just started from where you started, like maybe you guys were the same skill level, but nowadays you inject them into that group, and it's just like a stark reality of how far you progress as a rider to like ride within this group, to get around, to ride the backcountry.
But that's what this group does. Like, when you get in with a group that wants to push it and wants to learn and wants to progress and just has such a good time doing it, it's amazing. Like you say, Mike, like, you don't realize maybe how much you're progressing, but then all of a sudden a few years go by and it's like
we cover ground pretty quick in some pretty technical terrain. Like into that little shithole today on day 2, there's not many people that would have a good time down there.
No way.
And would probably honestly like have to hike out. Like they would never
But
get a sled out of it.
I'm not going to call out Mav, but today Mav's an amazing rider, but he had a
no,
turboed 146, and the kid can ride his sled, but he struggled to get out of there. Like, he took many tries. I'm pretty sure I wasn't.
So it's
with
gnarly
them, but-
terrain, but you kind of forget it when you get into a group like this, and you're like, well, let's just poke over to that knoll and see if there's like maybe cliffs there, features that we can film or whatever. So you just traverse over there and whatever. But like, yeah, you bring anyone else in there, what do you do?
You know what we get really good at, Reeve? Track poaching. Oh my gosh, you gotta learn how to ride. I think that's why when I get in fresh snow, I almost like lock up because I'm so used to just going through bomb holes and trenches and this
It's Jackson Hole for us.
the disaster of what's left behind after filming you guys. It's just survival mode, and then you get in fresh snow, and I'm like, panic and end up in a tree well.
Dude, we were talking about that. What people don't understand is the difference between riding trenches, being the last guy and the first guy in line.
Oh man,
The way you ride a sled is so different. And if you're like Jay rides trenches for a living, literally. Like, so he's really, really good at it.
Trenches.
He lives in the trenches.
He goes looks easy.
Yeah.
To be honest.
And he knows how to use them. It's funny because guys are like, I hate riding tracks, but you can use a track to your advantage, and all of a sudden you're the highest guy on the hill because you take 40 feet of a trench and you track poach it a little bit, and then you're above everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's like
skill in
magic.
itself.
Oh, for
Or
sure.
sometimes you can use the banks as like a slingshot,
Yep.
and you just it's like you gain 20 miles an hour.
or in some cases on a flat lake, you use the bank corners to get yourself
Yeah.
revved up in a figure 8. Just going.
The banks were like 6 feet.
Yeah, I
tall
saw that. You were
by
just
the end
berm
of the
corner. It was like an ice sock track
berm
in there.
cruise, yeah.
Yeah, I almost crashed into those today when we went in the same zone.
I jumped one.
Jeez, snowcross track.
I'm like, wow.
But one thing that I want to follow back up on what you guys were just talking about is it hit me when I wasn't even doing snowmobile related things. It was like side by side. It was all this other stuff, but it was like adventure stuff. And I was like, whoa, we are way gnarlier than we think we are. Because we compare ourselves to all of our friends. And then it's like what you said today is like nobody's gonna have fun in there except a select few people. Yeah. And we're comparing everybody else's like when Jay pulls a gnarly line and he like his best line, I'm like, damn, Jay was killing it. Like I compare myself to that. Like, could I have done that? So it's everybody's just like chomping at the bit to just level up when everybody, 90% of people are just like, you guys are psychopaths to even drop in there.
I would never go in
there. I think where you're going with, seeing Jay or yourself, Ross, doing something like that, it gives you that confidence being like, actually, I could probably do that. I should probably go try that right now because if he can do it, I can do it.
No, the thing is sometimes I don't think I can do it, but if he did, I'm like, I have to go do it now.
And that's the progression. Keep pushing, and back to the, talking about Riley hanging out and riding with me. For myself, to be honest, I think what's kept me motivated and keep pushing in this sport and just being involved with the whole filming and just being involved with the 519 family is having you youngsters around. I'm going to say it, you know what I mean? It helps push me to keep myself motivated to keep wanting to just go. I think there's a point of age where that's going to catch up, but
what is that age?
I'm not going to let that.
What is that age, Borch?
106. Isn't it 1918?
Yeah, 1918.
DeMello called me out on
Cody Borchers is the one and only athlete that we have absolutely no idea how old he is, nor will he ever confess.
I don't think Canada was keeping track records of
birthdays
back then. So
they don't even know where I came from. It doesn't matter.
He's got no papers.
Yeah. But it's fun. It's fun to ride with these guys that want to keep going. Some days you're like, oh man, what am I doing? Am I doing it for real? But then Michael, Reaver will talk me into something. He's like, man, Borch, just go do it. You can do it.
Yesterday's a good example of that.
Yeah, and it just kind of pushes me out of my comfort zone, gets me thinking again. I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. And then you just keep pushing and having fun. And the sleds nowadays just allow everyone to keep going at it, but also letting the old boys just keep being in there and hanging out. And maybe I think as the gray hair and the white hair rolls in, it makes me think a little bit more. I got the Kebster hanging out beside me, and I think it's fun. It's a cool sport, a lot to express with and make good new friends and just have just a big family life, which is really important to me to just keep within the 519 family and the sledding family. I think it's important, So it's I appreciate that all you youngsters want to still hang out with me and come shred with me and keep pushing it. So it's wicked.
You can't go away.
It's good.
Do you think one theme between all of us here sitting here is that we all came from a sledding background?
Yeah, did anybody here get into sledding
late?
With either late or without a family member that was into it? Borch, you?
No, you had an uncle.
Well, that was probably after the Civil War.
This will be
it was right after the Civil War
for a different podcast, but honestly, it
keep this part.
I'll do it real short.
Keep it short.
My dad was big into hunting, and I think with every father that wants to kind of like show their kids, they're going to take them out and do all these things that they're really into. And, I'm not too sure what my girls will get into. I'm going to expose them to everything. But that little bit of just, being up at 5 o'clock in the morning, driving down the highways to go hunting, and just like all I would do is stare out the window, look at the ditches. I would see snowmobile tracks. I was always really big inside to drawn to dirt bikes and snowmobiles. Like I was always on my pedal bikes, building jumps, my mom would tell, and the crashes I'd have in the driveway and all that good stuff. But there was always a draw to it, and I truly made it happen. And it was just something I always wanted. It would have been really a lot of fun. I always ask everyone that I was riding, I'm like, hey, how did you get into it? How did that happen? Was it your dad? Was it someone? All those types of things. And for myself, I made it happen, but it was good that you brought up my uncle. My uncle, Larry, he had a snowmobile, so I would go and mow his grass in payment to get this snowmobile. That snowmobile honestly lasted like maybe 42 kilometers and the chain piled up in it. And that was it. It sat there. It was done. I was just devastated.
How about you, Scott? How did you get into it?
So my grandpa actually was the one that got me into it. He was the old mod days. So like high marking was
that's
king.
Soupy, man. Soupy was
RMKs,
the king of
the
clear hood
vertical escapes. Yeah, we did.
Nice.
Hey, don't talk about that. It's undercover.
Ross, what about you? How'd you get into it?
No, Dad Dad got me into it. Yeah.
No, Dad.
No, Dad.
Dad did it.
Well, the funny part was Mom would not let me race moto or do any, like, she was like, you're gonna get hurt. What she didn't know is when Dad and I would go ride, I was just full send, like 14 years old, just out of control. So I took everything I could, like, off, like, well, you can't race motorcycles, so I just took it into the snowmobile world, and that was it.
And
Your mom
McKinney,
knew
game
you were
over.
a squid.
My mom was like, you're not even a good D rider. You're not gonna make it on a
You'll
motorcycle.
never do this.
Kevin, have
McKinney-
I introduced you to sledding? What kind of sled do you have?
We got Borchers' oldest daughter here too as a little special
Kevin.
guest.
You don't know what it's called? What color is it?
Yeah, what color?
Yellow.
Nice.
Oh, it's a ski-doo. Little mini Z.
Where are you, a cow?
I seen you wearing laps around the yard.
Absolutely.
In the old house. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She loves riding. She just like, it's so fun to watch and really fun to watch, youngsters. Actually, you guys, as we were going with this, did you guys see those little dudes on those little arcades today?
Yeah.
We gave him the thumbs up. We
went
went
in.
and talked to him. in
They're
the parking lot.
mods,
Yeah, we
too.
talked to the one guy and just literally went and like your sled. Hope you guys have a good day. Mike drugged me over there, and
Awesome.
it was awesome just to I don't know
To
how old
see
the
the
guy
next
was.
generation. 12, maybe 11.
Yeah.
So coming down the trail yesterday, we caught these two little 200cc or 400cc sleds or whatever. And it was so cool watching them. And I just thought of me and my buddies growing up, like, same thing. You'd just be having a blast.
Oh, man.
And an area like this with snow like that, with the machines that they have today would just be unreal. So yeah, Riley and I went and introduced ourselves to the next generation of riders, and coming down the mountain, by God, if we don't come
And we've
across the
seen them
same
coming
rider,
down.
so we give him a big thumbs up, and
Yeah, I
like,
went
he's
by him
just
like this,
cruising,
just like, yeah,
loving
buddy.
it.
He's going right down the middle of the trail, just like the whoops were like 2 foot
huge.
whoops. And
But
like,
he was making it look good.
He was having
And
a
the
good day.
machines now were like
Yeah.
10 times better than anything we ever had.
So that opens up a reoccurring topic here that we've kind of chatted about in the podcast. And I'm curious of everybody's perspective. I think Ross and I have chatted about it, maybe Jay and I. But when you were talking about the places we can go with these sleds, you look back 10 years ago to what, like an XP chassis? You were at the Pro chassis just came out. And now you get in one of those and they're like garbage. Like you can't go anywhere.
It's like, right, it's a pig. They're big pigs. Just an anchor.
Couch.
So you look at like a 2023 Matrix, Gen 5, Lynx, whatever it is, and they're incredible. And we're at a point now where it's hard to believe that another 10 years from now, those things might feel like garbage. Because you even go 20 years back, like you physically can't get to the places we go now, right? Granted, now we are already making it to the tops. We're making it to the deepest drainages. We're making it to the peaks of everything.
Well, all year now. Like, because the old boys, like my dad, Soupy or whatever, it was like they'd wait till the springtime.
Right.
That's what Borch, I think's hitting at.
Right.
Those guys went everywhere.
Yeah.
And they were putting all sorts of pieces of steel on their track and crazy
Plastic
stuff.
paddles,
They were doing whatever. But they went there, but it was only one time a year.
Right.
But now our season's not the best for the snow this year, but we're going wherever we want still.
Exactly. And so when do these sleds become garbage? Like, where does the next step? Because we're already making it to the top. We're already making it down the nastiest drainages and back up them. So it's hard to believe in 20 years from now, you're not going to be able to pick up like a 22 anything and be like, this thing sucks. I can't have fun on it.
Well, one thing to mention on that subject is just, it wasn't that long ago that we were gearing sleds, putting different tracks on them, lightweighting them, putting different suspension on it. Now, like
everything.
modding a lot of aspects of the snowmobile that now today I think the manufacturer is developing something where we've been talking about it for years that, the sled can outride the rider or whatever. But I think it's genuinely become there now that if I hop on a stop OEM sled, it is out of the box a weapon.
It's up
like,
to
it
you
will
at
move.
that point.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no constraint as far as equipment goes.
It's pretty cool.
The
to see.
next step I see is like hovercraft. To be honest, what else? What else do you want?
For so long, the sled was holding back a lot of riders. Now, like 99% of riders cannot ride a sled to its capability. That's right, yeah. That snowmobile will go places that you are not capable of putting it, and it's on the rider. So, but within the groups of riders that are very avid, putting a lot of time in, it's like we're still picking them apart and like Like, we're talking, like, what are you doing over there? Like, oh, you're testing that out? Like, everybody has their theories, and everybody's going different directions, and it will get better. Because I remember when sleds came out in the last 10 years, we're like, there's no way it's going to get better than this. Yeah. But now we're riding, like, a stock sled feels like a mod sled we built 6 years ago.
But it's getting more minute. Like,
for sure. It's
the
like
things
nitpicky.
we want, we're like, oh, I could do this a little better. Whereas 10 years ago, it'd be like, I wish I could go up that mountain or that hill. And now we can, but it's like, I wish I could go up it sideways 10 times.
Or effortlessly.
Effortlessly.
And here's what's beautiful about it, and I hope it goes this way, is if you hop on... you hop on a hovercraft, you're going to have fun. No, if you hop on an 06, bike, 450 race bike, you're going to have the same amount of fun as the guy on the new bike. You're both going to have fun. You're both going to be able to ride and do everything. Snowmobiling is not that way.
No.
Right?
Do you think snowmobiling will do that?
That's what I think we're getting closer that way. Yeah. We already are.
Super fine tuning then.
Yeah.
And then it's not the
drastic
30% every
difference.
3, 4, 5 years, it's like some new chassis, some new technology. But like you say, Roscoe, is it going to be like Moto where it's not
two
going to
wheels,
progress so
roughly the
much?
same horsepower?
But if you put a rider on a 2012 right now, and he's a rider, he's going to get a lot of places. And a 2012 between a 2022, but if you put a rider on a 2012 and then put him on an 02, no, they're not going the same spots. So we're getting closer. It's just like I think it's gonna be a little bit longer until it's like everybody's having fun. You can all get there, but there's always gonna be big discrepancies.
This is a solid analysis from Roscoe.
If you look at a
dude, we talk about the hard hitting subjects here, dude. I don't know what you want from me.
He's a scientist.
You want to say something?
You want the mic?
Jay?
No, never mind.
Jay, go ahead. Speak up, Jay.
It's gone.
Lost it. Yeah. Next question.
Next.
I feel like Borch has some comments on this topic, but he's just sitting there.
Got the most wisdom here.
I was kind of smiling in the back when Ross was saying, just take that guy from the 2012 and put him on the 02. I kind of got laughing because, man, Ross, the shit that we used to send on 02s, man, we're probably what we send on now.
Yeah, I think about that.
You look
often.
at Elford, Jeff Kyle, and
honestly,
BJ Murray.
No one goes as big as those guys.
It was. Yeah. We need to get like Quinlan.
So cool, like
some
Quinlan,
of those
all those guys.
Yeah, some of those guys.
What
from the original
did those
sleds.
shocks maybe had? Like 4 inches of travel? Maybe.
Inches,
Yeah, and let
Trailing
me
arms.
let me
The only pro they had going for them is the giant ass seats
But the thing is we had to
for those landings.
That's why I think the jumping was such a big thing then
Because you
because
had a couch.
no because
you could land on the
no,
couch.
you were too afraid to go into the trees and go down in those sucker holes because you'd never truly get back
Right,
out.
you're
So
like-
you were just like, I'm just gonna send it off that, or I'll
like,
send it off because it's easy to get to.
I need
right?
adrenaline. I can't go in the trees, so I'll just send it off this cliff.
Yes.
I just want to catch up to crusty demons of dirt.
And it worked, and here we are.
Let's be realistic here.
Basically how the
they started.
evolution went.
Absolutely.
And to your point exactly, Cody, what is funny is I was talking to Dan Adams about it, and he's like, oh yeah, dude, I flipped one of those. And it's like, what? Wait a second.
Yeah.
We are not as gnarly as we think we are.
No.
Cody's in the same
Yeah,
boat though.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
What year
and
was
that's
that?
exactly
in
to his
06?
point.
06, wasn't it?
Happy birthday.
Oh,
Whose birthday?
Nice, right into the podcast.
Trent, get over here.
Happy birthday, dear Trent. Why is your face so red?
Diener, why aren't you in here?
Nice.
Reagan, get on the other side. That's fine.
And pause.
Oh jeez.
So earlier today, when we ended the day, Borch called Trent up and goes, "What's your favorite color?" He's like, "I don't know.
It's gone.
Orange? Why? Doesn't matter. Bye." And now Trent has orange cupcakes for his birthday.
I thought it was gonna have something to do with icing him or something.
I actually said pink, to be honest with you, but then I was like, I better call David.
Guys, we got more people funneling here. This is a.
McKinney, what's going on right now?
We got cupcakes. If everybody listening is not visually like watching this is a emotional roller coaster.
YouTube.com/509 Inc.
509 Films.
Okay, hold on. Cut.
We have
Nadine,
one emotion.
Nadine Overwater's back here.
It's been a ride.
Diener, get in here.
Reagan Sieg is here now too.
I don't know if you can see him.
Can we see him?
Yes.
Can we see him? Can we hear him?
No, maybe
Make him
so
wider.
over
Make it
here.
wider. Make the lens wider. Back the tripod up.
Can we fit in here?
Oh, it's
Oh God.
I can go out.
Here, tag them out. We're going Canadians only.
Oh,
There we go.
what?
Get the U.S. guys out of here.
Canadians only. We got some space.
All right, we're doing a little shift work here.
All right.
Regan, welcome.
Okay.
Silence.
Cabby, before we get started, you've been bugging me all night long. What do you want to say?
You say it and then
Say it. Come on. What do you want to say? Oh, your mom's got a coach
does.
cruiser. And what's her name?
Becky.
Becky the Bravo.
I don't know what any of that means.
So we have a little Yamaha Bravo.
Oh,
And it's the coach cruiser. She was so excited to say this.
that checks out.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Got it. Here we go.
What have you guys possibly been talking about for this long that people care about?
Well, Nadine, if you did come and join earlier, you would know. Guess you're going to have to watch this to catch up.
I
Don't
know.
worry about that. We're just getting right into it.
I'm just curious.
Let's talk about a little bit of a legend here to my left. Reagan Sieg. Seriously, talking about crusty demons of dirt.
back to
Regan.
freestyle days.
You
won't
were
even
you were
understand
you were
that on this
chasing
podcast.
that whole dream down there for how long? Like you were even on the Metziger team when he had like the whole one piece and man,
Yeah,
this-
went from racing to freestyle when that kind of started being a thing, and followed the dream. Went down to the U.S., rode with Metzger, joined a team with him, and it just my life kind of followed dirt bikes ever since then. I started finding ways to make money and travel, and do
But
what
there
I
was a
really
point
love,
when I
so.
met you in the backcountry. I think you were riding a 2004, was it? Was it a Rev?
2007.
Was it 7? Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it was a 7.
Yeah, 144.
I think I seen you in the sail closure. Is where I seen you. We were like way in the back, and all of a sudden there's Regan.
During the closure?
No.
Okay.
There's a period of when the closure happens, and obviously we were not in that closure part of it, but we were riding the closure side, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember if that was where.
So snowmobiling, you were drawn to the backcountry due to snowmobiling in the beginning.
Oh yeah!
Look at this guy. Borch is the new
snowmobiling,
host.
Dirt biking to me was like, and if you're a Canadian and you dirt bike, like we have winter, so all of a sudden you can't really dirt bike, or you got to
No,
go to
that's
the
very
U.S.
true,
to
yeah.
try to ride somewhere in Cali or something like that. So like, snowmobiling is the closest thing, and like in that era, like the 07 Rev and whatever, sleds started getting really fun, and I really started taking a liking to getting out there and shredding hard and getting in the backcountry farther, and the whole experience of being out there is just challenging yourself, and yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
It's a good time.
Long story short, there's a YouTube video, just YouTube Reagan Sieg on a snowmobile, and it'll blow your mind.
Absolutely, you were sending it
don't
then
know.
too.
I kind of dug into that a little bit because when Reeve posted that snow bike versus sled challenge with you and Turcotte,
Yeah.
he posted that clip of you dropping that huge cliff on a rev on a sled. And I've known you as a snow bike guy. I didn't realize you were like a proper sender on a sled for a while.
Well, I didn't really ride sleds to like try to make money or anything, so it was more just for me and my buddies, and we'd go out there and shred hard. I didn't see an avenue to push forward. It was more just my release, so it wasn't really about taking videos and everything. It was just about getting out there and shredding. So
I don't know if there's a lot of viewers that'll relate to a couple of buddies going out shredding to doing a 120-foot drop like you did. That ain't just a typical Saturday weekend.
Land up
warrior
on
there,
Sunday.
Regan.
well, I
You
mean,
are
my
unique.
life is kind of on the dirt bikes, taking an uphill. Like you gotta kind of step up, and that's just the way I've lived. I kind of stepped into the world of riding with all the U.S. riders and all that kind of stuff and competing on the world stage. So you just learn to step it up. And when you're out there riding, you don't just sit out there and kind of do donuts in the meadows. You're out there to be like, well, what line can I put that nobody else is going to put in the hill?
Yeah, exactly.
And
I mean,
it's like a signature.
you jumped in exactly what we were talking about of just thriving off each other. When you get all these guys together, like you got to beat your buddy no matter what.
Yeah.
Kenny.
Yes.
Regan on a one wheel.
Oh man, it's
Like-
unreal.
Everything the guy does, he's like top tier, top notch. He's good, like amazing at everything he does.
Can I
That's
tell you?
everyone sitting here though, like Diener,
Always strive to, right?
Diener on anything with handlebars. You came from a downhill mountain biking background where you were traveling around the world doing it. Borch, it doesn't matter if he's got like a wheel and go-karting where we're going hard and you're like setting track records, or Regan, it doesn't matter what what with handlebars, like can do some unreal things. I think that like athletic background, desire for adrenaline, and just like the ability to kind of put things different places, but also like keep yourself in tune or in shape too to do it.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's all about pushing those limits, and for fitness and for all kinds of reasons. I like bouncing around to different sports, and I think we all do it a little bit. Like mountain biking plays into a certain amount of skills, sledding plays into skills, dirt biking plays into skills, all kinds of things, and you mix those all together. And
Yeah, it all ties together for sure.
Oh yeah.
So,
but I think where it really all ties back together is the Canadian backcountry of snowmobiling.
I was gonna say, like,
this is where that conversation was truly going, and I wanted to pull it right from the roots.
You know what? We're gonna go back to that because, like, when I was riding dirt bikes, and my dream was to ride dirt bikes, I had to go to California to do that, and there was just no way to ride dirt bikes in the winter.
You guys don't have it all. Come on.
Yeah. So, okay, but we got the snow. Come on.
Nowadays, I'm like, 10 years later after that whole thing, and it's like now we can fully shred dirt bikes in the backcountry, and I don't even need this like to go to California to ride the sand dunes or whatever. In the winter, we have this huge playground now that's dirt bike oriented because we have a snow bike platform. And, it's something I dreamed about for a long time, so it's cool to see it come around.
And Regan, you were definitely one of the frontiers of snow biking. Like, you kind of decided that this is my thing, and I'm going to push it to whatever it's, the top level of snow biking could possibly be. You've been doing segments with Sled Next, 509, everything. You've done a couple of one-off things as well, but everything is setting the bar higher and higher for what's capable on a snow bike.
Yeah, once I kind of decided to get off the snowmobile and go to the snow bike, it was kind of an all-or-nothing kind of thing, and just decided I was going to give it my all. So, I had to start jumping in with all the sleds and trying to make it look impressive. A snow bike, everybody thought it wouldn't do anything. And, honestly, I got on it at first and I didn't know much about it. I bought my first one without ever trying one, and it was just the right time. And I just went full into it, and I rode the first day, and the front ski scared the crap out of me. Going up the trail was like death, but you got in the powder and that thing was so awesome. But I could tell right away the ski wasn't where it was at, but the track did it, and it started getting us around pretty good. So I put a lot, I really knew from there, with a little bit of tweaking, this is going to go a long way. So,
Reeve, when was the first time you filmed with him? Because snow bikes are still relatively new. Were you just mind blown at what is happening?
You know what I was going to mention as you were talking about Regan and some of the history of it. Like, we've seen you put in your dues on snow bikes. They've come a long ways. Like, some of the first years, we've kind of all dirt biked, and I'd hop on, and it didn't feel like a dirt bike. It wasn't as playful or whatever, and you could make it look unreal. There's no doubt, but it still wasn't that dirt bike feel. I think the past probably 2-3 seasons, it's finally felt like a playful dirt bike.
Yeah, I think in the last few years, they've really honed in on the platforms of the snow bike, and they're the power plants of the dirt bikes are getting better, it seems like, too, and the kits are really getting honed in, the skis and everything, and you need the ski for control. And yeah, it lets me do things that my mind just looks at the mountain, and I'm just like, okay, let's try that, and check, and you're just off to the next thing. It's so cool, because I was riding snowmobiles for a long time and having a great time snowmobiling, but I was just like, I wonder what I could do with the backcountry with a dirt bike platform out here. And that's when I saw when Timbersled kind of made the first snow bike kit that was a real snowmobile suspension. It was kind of now or never. So that's when I kind of
it's kind of proven. Last year we filmed the webisode where you drug Riley and Cody and I up, and it was a blast. It was an honest blast, and I went and picked up a brand new 450 off the showroom floor. Mm-hmm. We put a kit on it. I hopped on that. Cody and I were playing rock paper scissors, get to see who rides the new bike. But you can just literally put this kit on that thing and just go and ride and have a great time. And all of us we're by no means what you can do on a dirt bike, but decent handy on a dirt bike, and it's awesome, man. When you get in a group like that, it's a pile of fun.
Oh man, that was a crazy experience, because it was 100% Google Earth kind of let's go for this ridge I know nobody's ever tried. Put rookies on snow bikes, and I had faith in everything, and kind of just we went for it, and even I was like trying to find a way through, and I was like, oh man, I don't know what I got these guys into, but like really we got up on this ridge and got into a place that no one has ever been on motorized, and these guys have never really ridden snow bikes. It just shows how cool they really are, and access kind of tool, and
100%.
But how cool is it?
But it was genuinely just an epic day.
Oh man! But we have some of the most epic backcountry. I mean, you guys are up here for that reason right now, and that's why this podcast is happening, is because, you know, the Canadians in this area. Nadine, you've been riding here for so long, but I mean, have you ever seen a winter here that hasn't been epic in considering like North America? You know what I mean? Like, this place is on the map for that reason. Not just skiing and snowboarding or heli, but like...
No, it definitely is. Like, in order to leave here, it has to be really shitty to go somewhere else. Yeah, it's hard to leave. We have the best train, best access. And usually the best snow.
Even being a neighbor of Golden, like an hour and a half away, like, love Golden, but it's not Revy. Like, Revy right here is something special. And
there's a certain snowpack and terrain that's just hard to beat.
And you can still explore. Like, we filmed a mission couple hours away from town here where, again, no motorized vehicle has been. We filmed some stuff near where Reagan lives where no motorized vehicle has been. Like, we're still exploring these zones on these newer machines. So that, like, adds a really cool element to the backcountry. Still, like, has that element that's, like, still undiscovered. And
that's the other thing, too, is, like, with all the logging and the forestry and all the, like, industry around here, the access we have is pretty surreal to be able to just pick a road and look at Google Earth and go as far as you can go.
And it keeps changing, though, too, like with forestry, because that's the industry you're in for work, as well as I am.
And you.
Yep. And it's very cool, though, because, like, the roads that were open 20, 30 years ago that, like, my dad rode and stuff, now it's grown up and you can't get through them now. But then the stuff that we're opening up now, we have whole new drainages, whole new zones we can potentially get up into.
Yeah, the backcountry up here just draws people in, and I just want to make a point of, like, we're on camera and it's cool that we get to do the 509 thing, but, like, the people that you shred with living here, like your buddies or whatever that have never been filmed or whatever, are legit riders.
Oh, yeah.
Very legit riders. So you are surrounded.
So many weapons that live in this town that want nothing to do with social media.
This area breeds people like that. I mean, that's what it is.
It's there's so many talented individuals that live in this town.
That are even excelling what we do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
I think some of those years where, like, you know, we were maybe filming the end of Sled Necks and into 519 and that sort of thing, but, you know, the Derek Woods, Brody Evans, the guys that have maybe faded out are still riding. And I was talking with Andrew McBride. I don't remember if you guys remember that name, but from the West Coast, remember Brad Gilmore? I was talking with him about Brad the other day, and he said last year he put him and Tyler Blair on a couple of demos from his dealership and said, like, let's go have a day. And they were hitting, like, 100-foot step downs.
I'm
and, like,
always constantly bugging Gilmore all the time, man. I can see he's like, he keeps himself in tip-top shape, and obviously he's a big family guy, and he's got his own business going. I keep teasing him. I'm like, when are you coming to Revity Ride?
But all these people can just naturally hop on a sled and make it look unreal. You know, it's fortunate that we get to go in front of the camera and do what we do, but, like, there's a lot of people out there that deserve credit for sure.
Yeah.
And keep us in shape when we're not riding in front of the camera.
How was the initiation in the beginning, Diener, when all us boys, when you wanted to come and ride with us? I can still remember one of the days that really sticks out for me, I think, with you is can you at least give me one good thing I did today? I'm like, yeah, when you do it, I'll tell you. Let's go.
I don't actually, like, know how I ended up here. I think I just befriended you guys, and I came home one day. I met you through my roommate, Carlina, and my whole yard, driveway, side yard was snowblowed because Cody's sled was broken down, and it was the only thing we had with a motor in it. And I was like,
I needed
wow,
to burn gas.
This is pretty sweet. Yeah.
I like this guy.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, I had the old Rev sitting out front, and you're like, okay, I think
Let's
you
go.
just must have brought me up one day, and then I just latched on. Suckers.
Well, obviously it was, you know, I can myself taking you up, I could tell that you had talent of being able to ride and actually be able to look at snow and see it and get around, right? And it's really cool for me to see, and especially now, I think now that where I'm really going with this is that I have 2 daughters. So it's awesome to see women in this industry like yourself and many others there are. But that you're pushing the sport, you're helping growing that woman's side that we need in our industry. And I'm thankful that you guys are doing it, because I hope that my daughters can look up to Auntie Diener and be able to maybe take that step and follow. And I think you do such an amazing thing, even with your business with La Nina out there. You're teaching women how to actually be out there, be successful, be confident, and taking that initiative to get started.
I don't even think, like we were talking about being down in the sucker hole today, I don't even think there was one of us that second guessed, you being there or anything. Like, there's nothing to it. When we ride in a group like this of 12, you're just one of the 12, and like you, like, are on a top-notch machine, putting that thing in places where we're like, that's freaking awesome. And yeah, none of us second guess getting in areas or technical terrain, and half the time you're ski pulling us. So
I don't know, the whiplash, the visor breaker today. Seriously, that was amazing.
That was embarrassing. Just kidding. I can't ride anymore. My visor's broken.
Yeah, right.
Go
faster.
You didn't let anything slow you down today either. You killed 4 trees, maybe 3 trees.
Branches anyway with visor.
Yeah, there's a lot out there early season though. I mean, it's no joke.
But you know what? You do it for so long, and maybe like 10 years ago, dropping in there would have been the scariest day of my life. But I don't know. It's just like you get so comfortable on the machines. The machines are like honestly half the talent, and they're so easy to maneuver. In the turbo now, it's just like a cheat machine.
Too much.
I don't know. Yeah, you just have to trust your skills and make good decisions and pick your lines. And it's like the more you spend in the backcountry, the easier it is to like pick the route.
No, okay. So when I was like on my come up working for Brant, whenever Nadine would post something, he would just like wash it, and then he'd look at me and goes, dude, she goes way bigger than you do. I was like yes. 19. I was like, oh no. And I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. Like, just sending it. And it was
sorry.
So cool. No, it's just like, it was so cool to see that and like just watch it throughout the years. And it's like, Nadine has set the benchmark for so many people.
Well, my wife, you're her biggest fan.
I know. Am I? Cool.
She's your biggest fan.
Yeah, I say that backwards, but you know what I mean.
That's enough of that. Thank you, everyone.
Well, okay, we talked about
so hard to take the compliments, eh?
Ross talks about the air, and McKinney, you were talking about the airtime. But honestly, one of your strongest talents is navigating the backcountry through gnarly technical terrain, like off-axis stuff, holding an edge, tree riding through all that sort of stuff is really hard to capture on camera. And when people watch it, they're like, oh, I mean, you just kind of ride a sled up to the trees. It's no big deal. But I think when sledders watch it, they're like, how, like they get it. They see where you're putting that sled, and they're like, okay, that takes talent, Because you see the jumps, and it's easy to be like, oh, that's 100-footer. How many people have hit a 100-foot jump on a sled on purpose? Maybe Soupy did it one time by accident, but but really, people can say like, oh, that's really difficult. But actually, when you put your sled in the lines like we shot today, McKinney got a really gnarly one of you climbing up towards him. It's like, that stuff takes talent. And you can do that.
Leading through the Alpine today, you led a lot of us dummies through there. Like, a lot of us were like, I've been up Boulder a lot.
She could go up Boulder
we don't know
blindfolded.
where
She's been
we
up there
are,
so many times.
Yeah, that's a whole nother skill, definitely, just like being comfortable in the backcountry, be able to navigate the backcountry, and definitely stand out when it comes to that. I took the whole group and started leading them, and I know you do that a lot, so it's a lot to be said, and that's inspiring to be out there like that, because like it was so bad in some of the conditions we dealt with trying to punch back to get some good snow away from everybody, and like it takes a lot to be a leader in those conditions.
I think it's funny too when the wind was howling today, and you can ride the same zone 100 times, and when the wind sets it up differently, and we've all had like super close calls, and that's like part of it is like that's where like when you like learn the balance of your fears and can like channel them in. Whereas people panic. You're like, oh, it's white out. I can't see. I feel like we're falling off wind lips left, right, and center up there.
Well, you went
and
into
like,
one today.
Yeah, you did.
well, I wasn't the only one.
But no, I'm saying you were leading us and you disappeared.
I know, and I've done that before in a lot scarier situations, and you can like really, well, you could die if you're like 100 feet off. And yeah, you just have to like, I think like that's what I love about this sport is like it takes all your fear and anxiety and everything, and it just like you have to channel it, and you have to be able to just like focus on what's in front of you and like your next choice. And
I think being a leader in that situation really gets things humming. When I was coming out day one night, I was just like, man, I got 9 guys behind me, and it is pitch black, and they're all, I don't know where I am. Borch, get me down the hill.
Yeah, let's give
I'm
Borch.
hungry.
Let's
I'm
give
just
Borch
like,
some credit for the other night because he did pulling out his hand, his gloves,
you get
looking
the
at his
clouds
phone.
are going sideways. You know, there's obviously we have technology to help us with certain things, but still, being out front, making those decisions when you have all that responsibility, it feels like there's a lot of responsibility at that point because we've been up here for so long and pushing in, you know, let's just say Boulder, we'll use one as an example, is it can get you twisted around sideways pretty fast.
You don't remember shit until you're in the front, because I love taking a break and hopping in the back and just being like brains off. Once we drop back into Kirkup Lakes, like after, I don't know, a couple of our little down channels, I was like, oh, I'm lost. I don't have a fucking clue where I am right now.
You should have seen Jay in the back. He was sitting down. Had his head up. Like the whole time.
Eyes closed, head in the sand.
I don't think I've seen him stand up once.
Typical berries,
Like,
Yeah, you're totally right, though. If you're not leading, you can just totally gap out, lose your sense of direction, and it's hard to figure it out.
So, McKinney, what were you hoping to accomplish with this podcast here with this?
With
these Canadian crew.
Oh, this has been great. I've just been listening. I'm usually like hosting. I just kind of sat back and listened for a while. So this is more than I could have asked for.
But you got like Canadians with a lot. You got one cupcake.
Yeah.
You have 4 Canadian athletes that have been in this zone and riding this zone for a long time.
Yeah,
There's got to be something the
Thank
fans
God,
wanna know.
because otherwise the U.S. team would still be out there.
What do the fans want to ask? What do they want to know from the Canadians?
I don't know. You guys have kind of covered it all.
we got the Silver Fox over here asking the questions.
Is it something like, you know, some of the highlights of being in Canada with the Canadian athletes and welcoming the Americans would be like the heli shoots that we used to host.
Yeah.
And when we talked about like some of the jumps Nadine was hitting, but then Reagan, that was the first time I think anyone's seen a snow bike air out like that next to the heli. And
that
was
one
like,
time I had to show up, and that's pretty much when I started with 509, came to the heli shoot and had to pretty much make the snow bike look cool against all the sledders that just crush it.
And you threw down.
Yeah, those were huge.
Really had to focus,
hits.
and like we did turn out really good. But like, I went in like not knowing what was going to happen whatsoever.
But then talking heli shoot, like one of the first times Riley really rode with us. I mean, we kind of dabble a couple of days here and there, but then you got thrown to the wolves and introduced to everyone. Jay was there.
That's when I met Jay.
And we were up in Eagles filming, and there was this blind, kind of really hard-knuckled double step down that Cody Robinson knuckled, Jay knuckled.
Turcotte said no to it.
Yeah, Turcotte wouldn't even do it.
Was
and
that
here,
when you blew your face up
and here,
that time?
No.
Oh.
and
Jay
here
was like 60 feet in the air and just like went like this
They're
and just
turtled
like
off of it.
ate the and then
and who lines up for it?
No, I got back on my sled
With-
and I did it. I nailed it.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
But who got like the end shot to the trailer for the film was this kid who had never even seen him, and the heli's just coming and looking up, and you're like falling down to the heli from how high you were. Like this sort of stuff, like when you get the synergy of the athletes together in terrain that Canada offers, is just, man, things happen and happen quick.
that's what that heli shoot did though. Like what we were talking about earlier, like when we get us all together and like everyone's feeding off each other, you end up doing some wild stuff. And McKinney, we're doing one soon.
We should bring it back. I think that's the moral of all
Yeah,
this.
hit some button here that'll be like a horn. All the audience will clap to say like, yeah, bring it back.
I get the clapping one.
Or
Yeah.
like
clap horn.
Or
Yeah,
even
that's
like
it.
where's the heli? Like, where are you?
Oh, that's
Where are you?
that's this button.
There we go.
So I think that's the theme of this. Like, bring all the Canadians together because we're launching that we're going to host another Canadian heli shoot.
Yep.
I think the big thing is that you guys don't truly understand, obviously because you live here, is the U.S. is like envies you guys constantly for the terrain. We have some really, really good terrain, but this area is so unique that it is the talk of all of the U.S. sledders. Like, it's on everybody's bucket list. I meet guys from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Wyoming, Montana, everywhere, and they're like, yeah, I want to get to Revelstoke sometime. I've never been. I want to get to Revelstoke. And, I mean, it speaks for itself in the footage. Like, you guys are able to get out. Even today, even though it was socked in and low tide, we still got some awesome stuff. But on a blue day up here with the right crew, you guys can damn near make a film in like 2 days if you got the right crew and the conditions align. But I don't know how else to put it besides like everybody who has on their bucket list should go and do it at some time. Yep. The problem is it kind of ruins everything else for you. Don't get me wrong. You get a good snow day down in the U.S. and you're awesome in your favorite zone and with a bunch of your good buddies. It's still a good time, but this place is on a whole nother level. I want you guys to come down to the U.S. and get your perspective on it because, I don't know, I think we get a little desensitized to it. Like, it's still really, really good. Don't get me wrong. It's just different. It's totally different.
I've traveled down there quite a bit.
You haven't gone to the you haven't gone to the right area.
I definitely will stay here.
Oh, man. I have traveled.
I've been asked to film in the U.S. plenty, and I was like, if you want it to look anything like it does up here, we got to film up here.
I love you guys for what you guys do with what you have. But I can remember, I was talking to Ross earlier, was just about, I was like, we went up to Rabbit Ears one time. We were down there in Colorado and we're hanging out. I was like, oh, we got to go check this place out. This is back with Sled Next Days, you know. Clayton Stasser, it's like, oh, we're going to go up to Rabbit Ears. I'm like, get up there. It's a huge parking lot. There's all these, you know, trucks parked everywhere, big trailers. Like it looks good. We get riding. It is flat as fuck. And we're riding along, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, well, let's go do some cool shit. It's like, well, this is kind of it. Then there's like one little hill, and I was just like, this is what Chris, he stays here his whole time? Makes it look that good? Yeah. I love you, Chris, for what you do with what you got, buddy, but it made me just want to go home and ride just Canada stuff, man.
Okay. Rabbit Ears is its own thing. I think Rabbit Ears is flat also. Like, you guys got to go to Wyoming. We got to get the crew down to Wyoming.
Yeah, but McKinney, you've had a chance to ride in Japan. You've ridden, obviously
Alpine.
grew up in
Alpine is dope, Wyoming.
in the Midwest.
Yeah, let's go to Barry's Land.
Yeah.
But Alpine was really, really good when I went there. I was really, really happy. Dan Adams was there, and
That zone in that sled next clip, you would love it in good snow.
yeah, there's some, yeah.
How many days
Steve
do you
Martin
get
and
in that?
myself, we killed it in Alpine. There's like a whole bunch of like step down, a bunch of cliffs. We were on our like little 120s just shredding there. So obviously there's sections within the U.S. that are absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah, we got to do it.
I had to throw the rabbit ears in there, but
All those zones from that segment are like a shrine to me.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because you guys did that.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were doing
Oh,
this right here.
oh, Cody was here. I want to do what Cody did.
But compared to other areas in the world, like we've filmed in Russia in the past, down in Chile, we've been to Japan, all through the lower 48, up to Alaska.
Oh my god.
And still, among all those areas, considering access, proximity to, you know, like heli access if necessary, or a major urban center and things like that, like Revelstoke, Sicamous, this whole little southern interior BC is really hard to beat.
I think it comes down to the snow. The amount of snow you get, the stability you get. You know, the further west you go and get onto the coast, the stability is even another step from what we even have here in Revelstoke. Gives you more confidence. There's some big stuff out on the coast. And I think here in Revelstoke you have that mix between alpine and tree line, which helps you navigate all the bad days like we've had the last 2 days. But it helps you get around and creates a lot of features that you can whip in.
What are you doing with
Weird
those
on.
buttons, McKinney? You just keep playing with them.
No, I'm not playing with them because everybody who's listening is going to understand. This audio is going to be all over the board. I got a lot of post-production to do on this podcast, so
You're welcome.
on that note, though, I might wrap this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sauna's ready.
Thanks for everybody who made it this far.
sauna is ready.
We have business to attend to, as Nadine has
We're
clearly
gonna ride again tomorrow.
made
We need
clear.
the sauna.
Yeah, and I need to get all this firewood out of my box.
It's a wrap.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. I got to do my spiel now, boys. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple, we appreciate all the 5-star reviews. If you're on YouTube, leave us a comment, subscribe, smash that like button. Somebody say it.
Destroy the like button.
There we go. Destroy the like button.
Vaporize it.
And this has been a fun one. I know it's been all over the place, and the audio is probably a little wild, but we had a lot of people here with minimal mics, and we did what we could. But thank you guys all for sitting down and chit-chatting. It's been fun. We're going to get each and every one of you on individually here at some point so we can dive into this stuff a little further. But thanks again, guys, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
That's a wrap.
See you in the movies.
Peace.